We have less than 2 weeks to report date. It's time to do our predictions for all of the winners of 2024. I'm gonna base it on all kinds of information, sometimes none at all. My first time ever predicting everything that's going to happen. I can't wait to be right 100% of the time. Like and subscribe so you don't miss any videos in the future, and let's get into the video.
So I recorded that intro on this nifty little thing called the Hover X1. It's a mini drone that just follows you around. So I thought, hey, maybe I'll use it on the video today to do the intro. Though the camera quality is not quite what I thought it would be, it's still a pretty nifty little thing, and I definitely wish I would have had this when I was doing live vlogs. You subscribed, right? We covered that, and you did it. Thank you. Let's just get into it and let's start predicting all of our winners, starting with the teams going division by division. First up is going to be the AL East. Yeah, I'm starting hot with maybe the most competitive division in the last 5 or so years. And we're going to go from last place all the way up to the champion. In 5th place, the Boston Red Sox. I know they've added some new people with a new philosophy, and we're looking at a good old patented Boston Bridge year. It looks like it's kind of a wait-and-see situation for them. I think they'll hang around. They're still the Boston Red Sox. I don't think they're going to be, a 60-win team, but I don't think they're going to compete for that division either. In 4th place, and this might be controversial, I have another team that has not done much to replace the guys they lost this offseason, and that is the Toronto Blue Jays.
I'm so sorry. So sorry.
Yes. Vladimir Guerrero Jr., yes, Bichette. But they lose Matt Chapman, who was a very quality third base option for them and a good leader. Haven't added too much on top of that. George Springer's getting a little bit older. The talent's all there, obviously, if they put it all together. But they've also had the talent the last 3 years and haven't gotten the job done, getting bounced in the first round every time they make the playoffs. So I have them taking 4th place, just narrowly missing the playoff picture. I think they're in that conversation, about a 500 team, maybe a little bit over 500 this year. They have high ceilings, but I feel like if we're going to see something crazy, they got to do it now. And then we're into the tight part of this race. And in 3rd place, I'm going to go way out on a limb here and say the Tampa Bay Rays are our 3rd place team, though they still find a way to win 88 games or something and sneak into the playoffs. They seem to throw teams together out of nowhere, grab guys from the minor leagues a lot or grab guys from other teams on waivers and turn them into really high quality players in the big leagues. There's no reason that can't happen again. But losing Glasnow does not help. We don't know what we're going to get with the young guys coming up. That this might be a year that the other two teams are going to be a little bit too good to overcome. Still going to be there in the playoff picture because they seem to always be. In 2nd place, it's a tight race to the end. The New York Yankees. Yankees get Juan Soto. Huge deal. The best protection they could possibly get for Aaron Judge. He is a perennial MVP, especially now that Ohtani is no longer in the AL. So you add a world-class hitter, a guy who's probably going to get upwards of $450 to $500 million in free agency, batting either behind or in front of him, doesn't really matter. Someone's going to get some good pitches to hit. It's very hard to pitch around 2 guys in a lineup. Then you factor in things like Verdugo joining that lineup. That guy can hit. If the circumstances are right, he'll thrive in New York. I think Soto's the same way. Thrive on those type of places. And then they added Marcus Stroman, who's going to be their solid 3-4 in their rotation to really eat innings. I think Rodon flip-flops. He has a down year. He usually always has a good year after that. Garrett Cole won the Cy Young last year. And I think Nestor Cortez is going to be solid as a 4 in a great bullpen. So Yankees take 2nd. And in 1st, we have the Baltimore Orioles. I recorded this actually like 3 weeks ago, and I had the Orioles in 1st at that point. But then they traded for Corbin Burns. I've been saying for weeks, the only thing they really needed was a true ace, and Corbin Burns is that ace. I thought they were going to go try to get Snell, but they had an aversion to spending money, so instead they traded a couple of prospects. Corbin Burns being a huge prize. He is their game 1. Corbin Burns versus Garrett Cole. Can't wait to see that matchup this year. Then you add Bradish. I got Rodriguez getting even better. John Means coming back. Just a lot of talent there. Jackson Holiday comes out on fire, and super excited to watch. The world loves the Orioles and taking the best record in the American League. Next up, let's move on over to the AL Central. Another one that's competitive, but in a different way. A lot of teams close to each other in record, but only one of them is going to make the playoffs. So let's get into it. In 5th place, I have the Chicago White Sox. It shouldn't be that way. They're too talented. It seems like they've committed to the rebuild. They're actively trying to move Cease. I just don't see them competing this year. On paper, they should always compete, but they've lost some guys. They've added very little. I think they're just going to try to build up that minor league system again. Then in fourth, these next four teams are going to be close until the end, as they have been in the past few years. But in fourth place, I have the Cleveland Guardians. Not enough thump in that lineup, in my opinion. They have great defensive players, but a lot of get on base, stolen base types, and you just need a little bit more thump outside of J-Ram and outside of Naylor. I just don't know how they overcome that to win the division, but I think that the difference between like taking second and fourth is not going to be a big one this year in the AL Central. And in third place, the Kansas City Royals. I said it. Cole Reagan's going to continue to build on the year he had last year. I don't know if he's going to be better than that because I don't think there is better than that. But I think that he leads that rotation with some of the veteran guys they got, Michael Wacha, Lugo, Jordan Lyles, 8 innings. A lot of veterans, but veterans that don't have to be the huge producers in order for this team to win. I think Drew Waters keeps getting better. Bobby Witt Jr., who just signed a massive extension for $288.7. I still don't know where they're getting these .7s. This keeps happening in contracts. I always want to know where they keep getting these weird numbers. Locks him up as the core, the leader of that team. He had an amazing year last year, but I think he's going to be good for a long time, health permitting. And their bullpen improves as well. They added Nick Anderson, Will Smith. The last 3 World Series have been Will Smith, so you can't count that out. The Royals take a step forward, and they get almost to 500 in third place. And now we're in the final two, and you may be wondering, oh no, those 2 teams are left. Minnesota Twins take second. They just picked up D. Scalfani. They're going to twins him, be a very good version of himself. But again, outside of Pablo Lopez, they're lacking the big dominant guy. It's kind of a 1-2, and then kind of 3s and 4s after that. Young guys that keep getting better, though, especially in the power category. Krylov, Trevor Larnach, these guys, any of them can go have a big season and completely change the complexion of that team. But they lost Jorge Polanco to a trade to the Mariners, so they're going to miss him. But they still have Carlos Correa. It's just about how that production works and how they stay healthy. But if Byron Buxton comes in big and Royce Lewis comes in big, then it could be a different story come September. So that leaves us for our last team. The Detroit Tigers take first place this year because they made some savvy moves, grabbing Kenta Maeda, Jack Flaherty, quality arms, will eat a lot of good innings and produce wins for them. Tariq Skubal is in a top 5 for Cy Young, if not in the conversation for the prize. The problem is last year was shortened because of surgery. Hasn't thrown a ton of innings. Can he get to the numbers he needs? We'll see, but I think he leads that rotation and they get much better. They have a good bullpen with Foley, with Lange, and then their lineup. Garrett Carpenter continues to get better. Torkelson, he does 30 homers again. Riley Green could be a star. And then I think Javi Baez feeds off the energy of competing. I think when they start competing, we start to see what he has left in that tank. I think he rises to those occasions. I think he's proven that over his career. We're going to see more out of Javi Baez this year, and they take the division. And then let's do the West. In 5th place, Oakland Athletics. They just picked up Alex Wood in free agency. They also traded for Ross Stripling. So there's a couple veteran arms, but here's the names to pay attention to because there are some exciting players there. 2 starting arms that I'm really, really interested to see is Joe Boyle and Mason Miller. Electric arms, both can run up to 100 miles an hour. Joe Boyle's got the glass now thing with the straight over the top and the super hard curveball, and Mason Miller just blows your doors off. And then you add in JP Sears, Blackburn's always throwing quality innings, and Ken Waldichuk's gross. He's just got to continue getting better at locating. In 4th place, though, I have the LA Angels. They've done one thing. They signed a setup guy for 3 years, $33 million, and that's about it. They're relying very heavily on what they have in the rotation. It's solid, but they don't have an ace. They need a lot of things to come together. They need Rendon to be healthy all year, and they need Trout to be healthy all year. And having no Ohtani, it's hard to say you're going to be better than you were last year. It's just hard when you lose the best player on the planet. So 4th place, LA Angels. Now here's the interesting one. I think 3rd, 2nd, and 1st play out very similarly last year with those 3 teams. However, I see it ending slightly differently. Now this is another one that I recorded a couple weeks ago, and I had a different take. The Houston Astros take 3rd this year. I know they're going to be there, as they always seem to be. They're going to be in the conversation. They're going to have a good record. We're going to get surprised by the other 2 teams that we have left in the division. But the Astros signed Josh Hader, and that changes things. In 3rd place, the Texas Rangers. Texas gets hurt by the 2 big guys, Scherzer and DeGrom, missing the first half of the season. I'm anticipating that delay to be a little bit longer than the All-Star break, even though that is the deadline put forth. I've been around long enough to know that that rarely happens the way that it's predicted, especially when you're trying to be optimistic. They're one starting pitcher injury away from really, really searching. They also lose Mitch Garver. They lose Robbie Grossman. And they also lose Jordan Montgomery, who was so clutch for them in the playoffs. Now, he is still unsigned, and this is still something that they could do, but they don't seem too inclined to spend a lot of money. They won the World Series. You won one. That's all you can really ask for. So I have it coming down to the wire for the division between the Mariners and the Astros. Inevitably, the Mariners falling in second place, simply because they are still going to be prone to having dry spells at the plate, where they added a good array of switch hitters and lefties and righties, and they have Mitch Garver now with Raleigh, Jorge Blanco now at second base to fill that hole that they had in their lineup. To complement JP very, very nicely, Blanco creates opportunities for Julio Rodriguez to get the pitches to hit. So they have a future MVP in Julio Rodriguez, the center of that team. They got JP Crawford, great on base percentage, plays the game the right way, and he's great defensively. And then you add Polanco in there, career 115 OPS plus, which is well above average. He's going to make that team much better. I think their strikeout prone kind of tendencies get helped out a little bit. They're a very, very tough team to beat. So Mariners in second place. But first, we have the Astros. You can get to Brian Abreu, and then Presley, and then Hader. The game is over. And that is crazy. I was blown away that Hader signed with the Astros, but they still have the guys who know how to do it. Bregman, Altuve, Alvarez, Tucker. You just can't count these guys out. They still have that core. They just find a way. They're always there. They've gone to 7 straight ALCS. Until those guys are gone and it's a different look, I refuse to believe that that's going to happen. Who knows what we get out of Verlander? He's going to be kind of a corner piece to the rotation, but Framber didn't have best year last year, and they still won the division. It's a battle all year, and it's fun to watch like it was last year. Hello. Have you ever wondered how I stayed awake for all of those 9-inning baseball games throughout my career? Well, I'm about to share the secret. Focus Fuel. Focus Fuel is a caffeinated energy gummy that comes in 3 delicious candy flavors. It's got a bunch of great stuff besides the caffeine that smooths out the energy level and prevents the crash later. If you're one of those people that doesn't like to have a shaker bottle with you all the time, have to have powders and spilling it everywhere, and you can't find the scoop, now you can just have a gummy, 50 milligrams per piece, and control your dose that way. You can take them anywhere that liquids aren't allowed, airplanes, concerts, to keep that energy level going. Use my code, BASEBALL, for 10% off your first order at checkout at focusfuel.com. Now, back to the show. Now let's get into the National League. Where should we start? Should we snake it? Let's snake draft it. Starting with the National League West. In 5th place, the Colorado Rockies. Beautiful park, great area, but man, it's hard to breathe there. Have them doing what they've done the last few years. They don't seem super worried about it. A couple of the young guys continue to improve, but inevitably they just get beat up a little bit by the rest of the NL West. In 4th place, and you're not going to like to hear this, but the San Diego Padres take 4th. They lose Soto, they lose Nick Martinez, they lose Seth Lugo, and they add not much, because they showed at the end of last year that when they wanted to win, they did. And they also lost Josh Hader. I see San Diego kind of taking a step back and also having a little bit of a bridge year. Then we have the San Francisco Giants in 3rd place. And now they're interesting. If they can grab Snell, I think they will be hanging around with Arizona all year if they can pull that off. But it hasn't happened yet, and we're 11 days from report day, so we'll see what happens. I think Michael Conforto is their dark horse this year to be the comeback player of the year. He showed, I think, flashes of it last year, but plays really well in that park. He's great defensively. I think he's going to respond and have another quality year, really bring that lineup together. But in 2nd, we have the Arizona Diamondbacks. A lot of people want me to say the Arizona Diamondbacks are going to take 1st. You're not. Getting into the playoffs should be your goal, just simply because winning the division, one, has proven that it means a lot less than it used to now. But a team that has like 7 MVPs in it at some point is just probably going to win the division. I don't know what to tell you. But Gallen, Kelly, they added Eduardo Rodriguez. They went and grabbed Suarez at 3rd base. They re-signed Gurriel. They're going to be just as good or better than they were last year. They only won 84 games last year. I think they're more of a 90-win team now, but I still think that's 2nd place by probably 15 games. They take 2nd to the 1st place, LA Dodgers. Shohei Ohtani, Yamamoto, Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, Max Muncy, Will Smith. Do I need to continue? I don't need to continue, do I? It's all about the rotation for them, but I think they figured out the formula for winning regular season games. They're going to do it in the way they always do it, with a really quality bullpen, really specific use of their starting pitchers. But they got Miller, who's disgusting, and if he gets better, Bueller's going to be back soon. So they're getting reinforcements, and I think they're just going to win the division. The playoffs are going to be the interesting parts. Save your judgment for then. And then we got the National League Central, 5th place, Pittsburgh Pirates. Though I have a dark horse in their team for possibly competing for an award, I don't see much else. Hayes maybe hits 30 home runs out of nowhere. I mean, they got Rowdy Tellez. Hard to root against Andy McCutchen, huge fan, but I see the Pittsburgh Pirates repeating again in 5th place. Sorry, Sheldy. you're still one of my favorites. Then in fourth, we have the Milwaukee Brewers. This is tough to say at the moment because they just added Rhys Hoskins. They grabbed a couple of the young guys. Garrett Mitchell could have a huge year. Joey Wiemers could have a huge year. A lot of talent on the team, but you don't have Corbin Burns anymore. So Woodruff's got great stuff. I don't know if he's going to be healthy. Adrian Hauser is, middle of the rotation, maybe back end of rotation. A lot of back end of rotations there. Wade Miley. They would need someone to step up and become a true ace for them to compete in a real way and kind of just settle in at fourth place, just behind the St. Louis Cardinals in third. They very rarely are bad for a long period of time because of the way that they play baseball. And they still have Paul Goldschmidt and Nolan Arenado, Tyler O'Neill, Lars Nootbaar. I did that in the first time I recorded this video. The bullpen's a little bit of a question mark. Starting rotations, a little bit of a question mark. But I'm going with my gut here and saying that they don't have a lot of growing pains, but their ceiling isn't super high. So they just kind of settle in at third, but they're not in that playoff conversation. And then second, we have the Chicago Cubs. There's a lot of excitement there. They're going to get a little bit more production out of some young guys. And if they can sign Bellinger, then they're a real threat. But they haven't signed Bellinger yet. And they seem to be the only one having a conversation with him about it. His number probably comes down a little bit and they eventually get there. They use spring training as leverage for that. I got the Chicago Cubs taking second. I like Imanaga. Add him to Justin Steele. Two good pitchers in the starting rotation. Hendricks is the professor. Like, they got quality pitching. There's stuff to be excited about there. A young guy to pay attention to, Pete Crow Armstrong. I think he's going to make a splash. What team does that leave? The Cincinnati Reds. They got the young group Orioles feel a little bit. The oldest guy on the team is Calendario, and he's only 30. Sad there's no Joey Votto, but I anticipate he'll sign like a minor league deal and hang out. Joey, you want to be on my YouTube channel? Please come talk about baseball with me. I would love that. And then, Ellie De La Cruz, Spencer Steer, I have being in the top 10 for the MVP, and I'm talking about him. I have him hitting, high 20 homers and 100 RBIs and being a high-quality player like it was last year. I think he's going to keep doing that. Matt McClain, they have Diaz, who's a quality closer. They have a quality bullpen. They're getting better. And then the rotation. Nick Lodolo, so nasty, an absolute cannons for arms with Hunter Green and Ashcraft. I think they're good, and I think they win that division. And then to the NL East as our finale. And I hope that I don't get absolutely crucified for this list, but something tells me I'm going to be crucified for this list. In fifth place, I have the Miami Marlins. Now, when I recorded this a couple weeks ago, they had not signed a major league free agent. I don't know at this moment if they have yet. I haven't seen anything. However, I have not been looking that hard. So there's a chance they sign somebody. But if they haven't signed anybody, that's a big yikes. They got Alcantara and then all the guys who throw like Alcantara. They've had good pitching. Luzardo's nasty. Like, they're going to hang around. I just don't know if they're going to be able to score runs. I think they're going to have to piece them together. I have them getting beat in really close games quite a bit this year. Third and fourth place are very interesting. I think it's going to be two teams that might have the same record. Fourth place, we Washington Nationals. I think they continue to get better. I think they win like 5 to 10 more games than they won last year. Mackenzie Gore makes a huge impact. I think Josiah Gray continues to be quality. Lane Thomas has got more time under his belt. They still have all the power arms in the bullpen. Keeper Ruiz is kind of under the radar as a really, really good hitter and catcher. I have them being there, but I think that they lose the season series against the third place team, the New York Mets.
Trevor May cannot be our setup man. He is unacceptable. We just can't trust him.
The Mets just signed up Ottavino. They just signed up Jake Diekman. There's a lot of like that type of signing, 1-year deals. They're doing a little bit of a bridge situation. I think they're letting Stern kind of get his feet wet a little bit, get the momentum going with the new manager. Like, they're just trying to figure out how we're going to execute our philosophy. And that takes a year or two. They still have Pete. They still have Nimmo. They still have Lindor. They still have Jeff McNeil. Like, they still have all of these guys signed. Any of these guys have career years, then we're talking about being there at the end of the year. It's just the starting pitching I'm uncertain about. I think Sang is still going to carry that thing, but I don't know what's going to happen after that. They got Bader. They got pieces. A lot of quality players, a lot of solid big league talent that I think will get them third place this year. And then I think is not a surprise to anybody. Second place is the Philadelphia Phillies. They re-signed Nola. They still have a great lineup. They still have Bryce Harper. They still have JT Realmuto. And they will be right there because I don't think that the other three teams in the division are in a position to be super competitive yet. They can continue to hold down that second place. They're nowhere close to the Atlanta Braves. Atlanta Braves win the division again. They win over 100 games again. Same story. Same players, same team. The only changes are like Eddie Rosario gets replaced with Kelnick, younger version. They add Chris Sale, who's somehow going to be something close to old Chris Sale, I'm sure. And they have Strider's free. That I think Austin Riley's going to have an absolutely electric year. And then we see Ronald Acuna Jr. just be himself. So let's quickly recap the seeding. First seed, Dodgers. Second seed, Braves. Third seed, Reds. Fourth seed, Phillies. Fifth seed, Arizona. Sixth seed, Cubs in the NL. Then in the AL, we have first seed, Orioles. Second seed, Astros. Third seed, Tigers. Fourth seed, Yankees. Fifth seed, Mariners. And then the sixth seed, the Rays. Yeah, I know. No Texas. They just miss it. How do the playoffs play out? Buckle up, boys and girls. Reds over the Cubs. Phillies over the Diamondbacks. The Tigers beat the Rays. And then the Mariners take down the Yankees in the first round. In the second round, we got the Braves finally winning a series against the Phillies in the playoffs. Then we have the Reds beating the Dodgers. Orioles take down the Mariners. And the Tigers beat the Astros. In the ALCS, I got Orioles over Tigers. And in the NLCS, I have the Braves over the Reds. The World Series, it's Braves-Orioles, with the Orioles taking down the Braves in a 4-2 series. Yeah, you agree, right? There's no way that it's any other way than that. That's perfect. Unassailable. Let me know in the comments how much I'm right. Now let's talk about individual awards. Who's going to be the World Series MVP? In a very similar direction to Corey Seager, I got Gunnar Henderson as the 2024 World Series MVP. But the playoffs are great. We love those awards. What we want to know, though, is what about the regular season awards? And I'm going to give you some dark horse predictions because why the hell not? The Cy Young for the National League is Mitch Keller. He is this close from truly breaking out in the big way. Sandy Alcantara situation where things click, those 200 plus innings, strikes out 230 guys. He puts it all together and outlasts Senga and Yamamoto. Then your NLVP is going to be very close between Mookie Betts and Austin Riley, with Austin Riley finally taking that award home. Does what he did in 2021, and that's enough to win the award. In the AL, Cy Young, top three. Garrett Cole, Luis Castillo, Cole Reagans, with Luis Castillo taking home his first AL Cy Young, doing pretty much exactly what he does every year. Slightly better on the ERA side and gets the edge that way and leads the league at innings. I think that's how he gets the Cy Young. And on the outside looking in, Corbin Burns, and the AL MVP. Screw it. Julio Rodriguez, your 2024 AL MVP. Did you get to this point in the video? Because if you did, I want cherry pie written in the comments because I just made one of those and I ate the entire thing by myself because I'm retired. And who cares? I can do whatever I want. I'm sure you all agree with me, so make sure that you let me know also down in the comments. Trevor, I think this was great. You're the best. No notes. Or if you disagree, get really, really angry deep inside here and then click on that thumbs up button to let me know that you really don't like what I said, because that is how you get to me. And that's it. 2024. Spring training's around the corner. Find me on the Rates and Barrel podcast with Eno Saris on The Athletic. That is coming out very soon. Keep your eye out for that. And check me out on the radio with Danny Wesselman every Sunday from 1 to 4 p.m. Eastern Time on SiriusXM or the SiriusXM app. Also, the Super Bowl's this weekend, so it's baseball season. It'll be baseball season. And then we can just talk about baseball. Join the Discord. Make sure you're subscribed and you like this video. And I will see you next time on the Trevor May Baseball YouTube channel. See ya.